On in San Francisco for the man known as the Zodiac Killer.
There could be a serial killer in Chicago.
The Oakland County child killer.
Phantom Killer.
Frankfurt slasher.
4 children have now been murdered.
Has killed 5 and says he's going to kill again.
15 brutally murdered young women.
The pattern is the same.
One by one, the death count started rising.
A man in a mask robbed, tied, and stabbed them.
Strangled, stuffed in burlap bags.
It is highly unlikely that these women were murdered by separate men.
Where will the killer strike next?
Police can't answer who or why.
That's the question.
Yeah, man. Happy Wednesday to you all. My name is 12 Gage. Welcome to my channel, 12 Gage Investigative. You know, it's been one of those days, like I woke up and the world didn't seem right. And I don't even know why. But I'm about to show you something that kind of concluded the night. It's really short, so let me show you. Indeed, before people dox me and show the world I'm a criminal, everything else, let me show you. Here we go. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Your boy got pulled over and got a ticket. Got a ticket. I tried to talk my way out of it, but I wasn't smooth enough this time to talk myself out of it. So I guess I'm gonna have to look this up. What's up, Jeff H? If you want to come up, I sent you the link. Let me make myself smaller so that we can both be up here. I'm going to look up something. Hold on while Jeff is coming up. You know what's crazy? This is my bestie right here. I forgot to say that. But I was honest with her. I said, I thought I stopped. And she's like, no, you rolled right through it. And I was thinking to myself, no, there's no way. Well, let me ask my favorite person, how much Howard County is a rolled through stop sign ticket? $150, wow. 150 at the high note, 160. So I think I got 10 days to fight it or to please. So I guess I'll be extra hustling this weekend trying to get that cash. I mean, I got it. I just don't want to pay $160 out of pocket after I already paid, $390 for a new windshield. I was watching something earlier, and I think Jeff wanted to talk about it with me. Jeff, if you're coming up, come on up, brother. Okay, I heard a ding sound, so there he is. What's
ding.
up?
It's got to be Jeff. Ding.
Yeah, what's going on?
Oh, wait, let me mute the YouTube. Man, I'm sorry about your ticket, man. That sucks.
You're telling me. And the thing about it is, DoorDash sent me to another freaking store way out of the way. So I could have went the other direction, never messed with the police officer or anything like that.
Oh, man. So it was a stop sign? They said you didn't come to a complete stop, or?
She said I rolled through the stop sign. I don't believe that because
I saw you live in your car. Did you happen to be live at the time it happened, or no?
No.
Oh, so you don't have a recording of it.
I just shut the live off, and I was looking for something else. You know what's crazy is I usually have the dash cam on, but I just got my windshield replaced, so I didn't replace the dash cam up there yet, and it's always running. So
right. Oh,
so I just looked it up. Yeah, I looked it up on ChatGPT. So if it's correct on the high end, it'll be 160. Ouch. They give you like 10 to 15 days to go and take care of it. So I guess that's what my weekend dash money is going to go toward a freaking ticket.
Maybe if you go to court and just, I don't know, maybe they'll can appreciate that you came to court. you pay the ticket.
Hey, you know what? You know what? I could just blow it off altogether like someone else we know. Never went to court to pay a fine.
Who's that?
His seatbelt ticket.
The guy where? Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
Hey, I forgot to tell her. Yeah, I'm an honest person.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is, you thought that you saw me run through the stop sign. I disagree totally. I mean, she's a short one, so I didn't want to piss her off. You know what I mean? And
it was a comedian. It was a comedian that was talking about with police officers. He's like, the way it ought to be, they like sitting at a stoplight, and like, I'll forget the punchline and everything, but they're basically sitting at a stoplight and they see a car go through. He's like, well, he made it. Just let him go. I mean, and I think the thing is like, did you, by rolling through that stop sign, did you put anybody in danger? Was there a near miss? Or actually, George Carlin talks about this. The expression shouldn't be near miss. It's actually truly near hit. It's not near.
Bro, she came out of nowhere. Like when I stopped, there were no cars on the other side. So she must have been on the opposite side of the overpass. There's I-20 and there's two east and west lanes. So she was probably on the other side and saw me and came up behind me and got me quick.
So now you know what a fish feels like, right? She's sitting there in a fishing hole.
Let me take that backdrop off. I don't know why I have that one up there. Whoa. It said, let's talk about grooming behaviors.
Hey, it's wow. Well, I did just get a haircut recently.
How about you? About grooming tonight. Let me delete that one.
Did you get a haircut recently too? Maybe that's what the grooming is referring to.
Maybe that's what it was.
Hey, am I loud enough? Check.
Walt says, any tips would be appreciated, but never expected. Yes, if you want to donate, let me put my cash up. No. So, Jeff, I hear there's something in the way.
She moves.
I sing that song every time I'm driving, dashing, because it never fails. There's always a slow car. There's always somebody walking across the parking lot, and that song just popped in my head. Something in the, it says someone's in the way or something by Nirvana.
Oh, I know the one. I was
Maybe
thinking of a different song, but I think I know the song you're talking
maybe
about.
I'm ad-libbing that song.
I did see on your video when you were live for a few minutes, you had Luke Combs on the dashboard there. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, he's listening to some Luke Combs.
Yeah, I was gonna go live, but that was my last dash of the night, and it kept flip-flopping. I don't know how other creators keep it on YouTube and dashing at the same time. They must have another phone where they got the map pulled up or something, because
probably.
it kept popping me off, and I was like, screw this.
Yeah, it's a little too difficult to do both.
She caught another dude, like as I was getting into town. She had somebody pulled over on the side of the road. I saw her and I filmed her.
I wonder if can you get a ticket for like would they consider that distracted driving if you're live on your phone while you're driving?
She asked me what I was doing. I said, I'm door dashing. And she said, where are you headed? I said, well, I'm headed towards this city up ahead. And she said, what are you picking up? Jesus Christ. I said, alcohol. I said, alcohol. And she's like, alcohol? I said, yeah, alcohol. And she's like, where'd you just come from? I was like, oh, Jesus. Do you want my phone number or what? I just came up from up the road dropping off, some food. So.
You didn't tell her that you're known supporter of law enforcement and friend to law enforcement on the YouTube channels, on the YouTube streets. Told her,
do you know who I am? Do you have any clue who you just pulled over? I am a famous YouTuber.
I know, hold on.
I'm a famous YouTuber. I go by the name of 12. Gage.
She's like, oh, the Gage man. The Gage man. Okay.
Oh, I just pulled over a celebrity. Get out of the truck.
You're free to go, Gage. You're free to go. It didn't go that way, though, did it?
I was expecting that any minute, bro. Any minute.
Yeah.
I agree, Nanook. I agree. So, Jeff, you sent me a video earlier. I don't know if I want to play it. Is that the only person that has it?
You know what? I think so, that I know of.
I mean, I don't know if she would.
Yeah, she would. It's hard to say. I mean, it probably wouldn't. Well, probably because I'm connected with it in any way or talking about it, it probably wouldn't. She probably wouldn't.
You know what? I've had such a bad day. I don't need a content strike on me.
Yeah,
for 3.
That would be end up going for a trifecta.
My would be gone. You know what I mean? And some people would just do that out of spite. But let's kind of walk the people through.
Well, here you go. Here's MSN.
He was like, wait, are you the guy who paid his light bill?
Oh, TMZ's got it. It started with the TMZ. Okay. Of course, who knows? Maybe TMZ would.
No, I've used their stuff before.
Let me see.
See if you got anything. Oh.
All right, let me see if I can find you a link here. Let me take Nanook outside. I think that's what he wants.
We're headed to get some Thai food.
That's
what I told her. I'm headed to get some Thai food. Really? There's no restaurant. There's no Thai food here.
Here's a link to it's a web page for TMZ with it in the private chat. Or as the cool folks say, in the back chat. I don't like the term back chat. That sounds wrong. I put it in your back chat, man.
Take him out right quick, and I'll set up the...
Okay. I'll be right back.
New video at DMV. All right. I'm about to show a video from TMZ that captures one and only Brian Christopher Koberger at the Department of Motor Vehicles. I watched this already like 3 times, and I don't see anything really intriguing by it. I really don't. I don't know if y'all have seen it, but if you have, I mean, maybe you saw something or heard something that I didn't hear. Because many people claim that, this shows that this individual was a human. I've heard that multitudes of times. It humanized them. Okay, so I don't know anybody who dehumanized them. You know what I mean? I don't know anybody who dehumanized them. Obviously, the people that feel that way, I don't know why they would feel that way. Let me set this up while Jeff gets back. There's someone in the way. Does anybody know what that Nirvana song, like something in the way, something like that? If you do, type it in the chat. Because honestly, that song always plays in my head when somebody cuts me off or is going really slow. It's my way to, kind of keep my sanity without losing it. I'm not trying to say I have road rage or anything, but, I might or might not have some road rage. It says the footage shows mass murderer calmly making some changes to his vehicle information, which ultimately helped him fly under the law enforcement's radar for a little longer. YouTube user British Chaos was first to obtain the footage. So let's see if we can make this a little bigger. I will wait for Jeff to come back before I play this. He's out giving his doggy a break. As much as we've talked about this case and as much energy that I put forth toward this case, it's videos like this that really, it doesn't change my mind on my view. And it's not because I'm a guilter. It's not because I want to see somebody be in prison who really didn't do the crime or whatever. None of that narrative stuff that's been pushed by antagonist contrarians, I just, I work with criminal-minded people on a daily. And if you know anything about individuals such as this, they are very charming. They are very, very approachable. They're individuals that they'll sit there and lie to your face while you're believing everything that's going on at the moment on what they're saying. And then you find out, the more you spend time talking with them, the truth ultimately always presents itself. Now, Brian at the DMV, is that really going to shed any evidence towards, guilt or innocence or even being the perpetrator? Hell, I don't know. I don't really know, because it was, the next week or the week after the murders that he had his license plate changed. So people have been saying that he was wearing gloves. Let's see what it starts off with.
At Emory Healthcare, we see the first breakthrough that bends fear toward hope. The first moment that says
Unfortunately, it has a
the
lot of
end
ads.
is the beginning. Each first creates echoes, second chances,
And we got
regained.
we got to play through the ads. But what is this? Come on, get to the story, bro. Like I'll just
to a Greek food adventure. In this series, we explore the rich history and nutritional wealth of Greek gastronomy. We will take you on a journey from the islands to the mountains, revealing culinary treasures that have fed the nation for centuries. Join us on this culinary adventure and discover the true taste of
okay,
Greece.
so we're joining an adventure. I don't know if it's ultimately going to play it. But it keeps going back to this one. I don't know if it's going to play. Hold on.
Oh, are you still trying to get the
the
DMV footage?
Yeah.
I can probably download it from TMZ.
Yeah, why don't you do that and then
stream
it? Okay, and then I'll just put it up on the channel. Because I do have some stuff I want to say before I play it. Because there's been a lot said about this case. A lot. Tons. And one thing that I want to give people the first-hand knowledge, like I just said, I work with criminal-minded people. I've worked with them for years, decades. And if you've never been around a criminal-minded person, you would believe that they're rather charming. They're gonna tell you the truth. They're not gonna deceive you. And there are some, because I don't want to pigeonhole everybody, because that's what people do. They pigeonhole their opinions about certain things as being, this is it. There's no exceptions. It's kind of like in this video, you're going to see Brian talking like a person, right? He's asking about his plates. He's asking about certain things. He's asking questions from the person about where she's from, or does she like this team, or blah, blah, blah. He's making small talk. How would that make him less culpable of committing a quadruple murder is my question. That's my question. Because to make someone human or unhuman is to base them on their guilt of what they've done. So the fact that the individual stood up there and said he pled guilty for 4 quadruple murders, but yet he doesn't want to be viewed as a monster in society, it doesn't make sense to me. But I'm going to play something while Jeff's doing that. It gives you a little insight on the differences between murderers and their mindset. Because I did a premiere yesterday on that, and it was quite interesting to me. There's a lot of AI stuff in there, but it's a lot of information that can really You got it?
Yeah, it looks like it's only 2 minutes worth of it, though, unfortunately. Probably,
Okay.
I think the first 2 minutes, which is good to talk about, though, because there's a lot of people that I've seen have been talking about, that the fact he's wearing gloves, and that there's just a moment. One person in somebody's comment section claimed, "Oh, but he took his gloves off at the beginning of the video when he came in." So I looked at it and I thought, "Oh, interesting. I must have missed that." Well, the only thing that came out of the gloves was his left thumb, and he only has it out temporarily. So,
well, let's watch it, Jeff.
Oh, right, here we go.
Is this coming from TMZ?
This is TMZ. Let me stop it after the TMZ logo.
We're
just tell me if you hear it.
We're giving TMZ the total.
What does that stand for, TMZ? I thought you were about to say it, like total. Well, I was like, what's the rest stand for?
Total media. Something, I don't know.
Zeitgeist?
I don't know.
You can hear it?
Let me put my stamp on it. No, I can't hear it. Turn it up.
That's not. You hearing it?
No.
Oh, hold on. You couldn't hear the sound effect with the TMZ logo?
No.
I thought I did that right. Hold on.
We're having technical difficulties, folks.
Hold on. Let me not do it through QuickTime Player. Let me actually do it as a video file. Downloads.
No, I got a speeding, not a speeding ticket. A speeding ticket would have been like $300. Rolling through a stop sign, it said 150 to 160. Maybe getting probation and all that will give me a little bit of a break, you know.
And if you speed through the stop sign, that's $450. They just add the two.
Wasn't speeding. Thank God. May interest you in a breast man.
All right, see if this video in a
get out of the car. Plays. Get out of the car. Yeah, no.
I'm gonna mute myself so you can hear better.
How's it going?
Pretty good. I definitely need to get my license plate changed.
Okay. We should be able to help with that.
Do I need proof of insurance?
No, I mean, you have to have it in Washington State, but you don't have to prove it with us. I do need to know the exact miles that are on your car right now.
Let me check that.
Okay, perfect.
150,000.
115.
Oh, okay. So you just have to write that exact mileage right here with no temps. Check the box that says actual, put today's date, and then you'll sign, print, and your street address on the bottom line there.
No.
Bye.
I wish it was worked.
Was that the better package?
Oh,
yeah.
It still wouldn't be
Yeah.
NASCAR.
Thanks a lot.
It would be cool.
Yeah. Do they not have that one?
I couldn't find it.
Thank you. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's been like a huge shortage on new cars. Like, it's hard to find cars right now. I've known a couple people that have like ordered the car they wanted and had to wait a year. New titles coming in the mail in about 4 weeks, so keep an eye out for that. If it's been 2 months and you still haven't seen it, just let us know because we can reissue it at no charge. Okay?
Okay, Jeff. At this point, what do you see, if anything, about this interaction? Did this make Brian human to you? Not like he wasn't human before. Okay?
Well, I mean, for all we know, we're sitting here and this woman behind the counter waiting on him has people buried under her house. We don't know. You know, I'm just joking, of course, but yeah, I mean, that's the thing. When you're hiding something, you're probably the nicest person in the world. You know, of course, you know, it's no way to, like, it's funny though, the people that criticize, or not criticize, but justify and say, oh, not even justify. What's the word I'm looking for? The supporters of him, of course, watch this. He's a nice guy. He's innocent. Okay, so you don't apply that to, like, well, Brett Payne in the House seems like he's an officer trying to do a good job. All the officers seem like they're nice, but no, every one of them, you know, to those folks, oh, did you see, you know, it's just awful. This makes me sick. I can't even watch this. I'm thinking to myself, are we watching the same thing? I mean, you know.
When I saw this earlier, when you sent it to me, I thought to myself, my instant reaction was that, well, you know, what do people expect him to be like? He doesn't know this person. He acted a certain way towards people he saw every day at the college, right? At the university. He knew that these were people who he either was attracted to or just wanted to make a power play towards, you know what I mean?
Right.
This woman is not blonde haired. She's kind of, she's not young. She doesn't look young. I don't think she is his type. So it's easier to talk to somebody who you don't really visualize as being your type.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if she looked like Maddie or Kaylee or any of that, then that would have made more questions go in my head how he would have interacted with someone like that.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like they're having a conversation, and he seems pleasant enough. He seems conversational. He has a little bit of that, talk can talk about himself. Everybody's got a little bit of that, but it's conversational in such that he's not like just totally taking over the conversation or anything. But he's, when she says something, it reminds him of something about himself. He's talking about he's asking a lot of questions. Do you think he's the type that probably doesn't like the uncomfortable silences or long pauses in a conversation, so he's filling it with with talk? I don't know. That's just a guess.
Well, I've been accused of that myself. Like, maybe the uncomfortable silence gives you a little bit of anxiety, so you're constantly talking, constantly breaking in on other people's conversation. So yeah, I could see a little bit of that. The one thing that I wanted to point out to you, because you and I have covered this case from almost the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
When he got pulled over by those officers in Indiana, he didn't. He was approachable. He was talking. We didn't hear because of the traffic, but what we did hear, we didn't hear him being rude. When we later got the body cam of him being pulled over without the seatbelt.
At night? Yeah.
Yeah. Was he rude? No. Was he not a nice person to the officer? No. He kind of had the same interaction, right? So how do any of those videos in people's mind, this is just me asking a question. How do people visualize this and say, well, he must have not have been the killer? Because on the video that I'm going to show after this, Ted Bundy is mentioned in there. Koberger is mentioned in there. And Israel Keys is mentioned in there. And Ted Bundy was very approachable. He was very charming, very charismatic, very intellectual. When he spoke to people, he got their attention. I view Brian as being typed the same way. He would get somebody's attention. Don't you believe?
But with a little bit of awkwardness. He's not. It's like he's. I see what you're saying, but I would say he's not great at it. He's not like.
What gives you?
He's a little bit. Well, he's a little bit monotone. He doesn't seem to get too excited about anything. Even if he were to have won $1 million, he'd probably say, yeah, I just won $1 million. It just his what do you call it? His affect, I don't think would change too much. So he's consistent.
He is. He's carrying on a conversation though. He's able to. Let's back it up a little. Okay. Back this up. Here we go.
Check the box that says actual, put today's date, and then you'll sign, print, and your street address on the bottom line there.
No.
Hey, PKC. This is Brian at the DMV.
Was that the better package? Yeah.
Did you see what Andy said?
Yeah. Do they know?
Yeah. You know her? That's awesome.
Also, Walt said he thought he looked like he dropped his glove. We have to take a look at that before we move on too far. I didn't see that. I didn't see him drop.
Well, let's rephrase this time-wise for people, okay? The murders happened on the 13th, which was going into Sunday morning, right? Monday, he supposedly went and got a haircut, saw the doctor. Is that not correct?
I think that's right. I'm not positive, but
When did this happen? Did this happen later that week?
This is from what I heard, this was the 18th, so it's 5 days after the murders.
Okay, 5 days, because his tags or his license plate went out on the 30th, right? So he wanted to get them done before the 30th, correct?
I think that's right. I might have a note about that. I'll search, but
okay. I mean,
yeah,
we're just going off memory. We're just going off memory. So, this is not long after. So, if you had just murdered 4 people, okay, and you thought, hey, it's 5 days, 6 days, however many days it was, I got to keep acting normal, right? The way this video that I'm about to show everyone after this talks about the elation after the fact doesn't go away right away. That's why there's a cooling off period sometimes, because they're continuing to reminisce about the crime. What do you think, John?
Sorry, I'm still searching and half listening. You're saying that the elation about the thing, it doesn't go away, so he's still 5 days later, probably still, on top of the world with that feeling, or possibly.
Of course.
Yeah.
How could he not be? I mean, even there were reports after the murders that his mood changed. Remember that? His mood.
Now, is it? I mean, the first place my mind goes is that, like, do experts that know about this kind of stuff, would the assumption be that when that goes down, then this person might be inclined to then go do it again to get that high again, the same feeling again.
That's what happens whenever you start, kind of coming down. Well, I would believe he would feel that he got away with it at this point.
I don't have that one.
I couldn't find it.
Thank you. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's been like a huge shortage on new cars. Like, it's hard to find cars right now. I've known a couple people that have ordered the car they wanted and had to wait a year. New titles coming in the mail in about 4 weeks, so keep an eye out for that. If it's been 2 months and you still haven't seen it, just let us know because we can reissue it at no time. Okay? Make sure the ones with the stickers go on the back of the rig and the ones without go on the front. And these do belong to you now, so if you ever sell or trade the vehicle, you get to change the plate. Yeah. Or they charge a little card.
I don't believe that they do because I have my
that card. Oh, okay. Then yeah, you should be good. I always just check because a lot of the East Coast states do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I'll definitely look into.
You know what I always notice about Brian? And I've noticed this since watching him at Costco. He walks with almost a limp. He walks with a limp. Not really a limp, but like a shifted gait. It's not fluid.
Well, he's also got that little bit of a duck walk too.
Yeah.
I used to work with a guy with a serious duck walk, and I think surely that's gonna affect the smoothness of your walking, perhaps. Yeah, it looked like I couldn't find anything in my notes, but I did Google. It looked like his tags were going to expire on November 22nd. So this is 4 days before that. But wait, what day is the 22nd? You said Saturday. Sunday is the 13th.
13th. So 7 days from there would have been the 20th. Following Saturday would have been the 20th, right?
Yeah. So he's got to get them done before Monday, right? To be the 22nd.
Yeah. Well,
hey,
listen.
I'm doing math.
Listen to what this has to say. I put this up in my library if you want to check it out later. It has a lot of interesting information. It said inside the mind of a killer.
Stops rolling. It's the moment when a suspect stops pretending. The eyes change, the body relaxes, and what you're left with isn't rage, it's absence. That absence, of empathy, of fear, of connection, is where the real story begins. Because not all killers are built the same.
Evil versus the reality of wiring. We like to simplify killers. Monster, psychopath, evil. But neuroscience tells a more uncomfortable truth. Many killers don't feel the world the way the rest of us do. Brain imaging studies, particularly using fMRI scans, have consistently shown differences in key areas: prefrontal cortex, decision-making, impulse control; amygdala, fear, emotional processing; anterior cingulate cortex, empathy, moral reasoning.
In some violent offenders, these areas are either underactive, structurally smaller, or poorly connected. What does that mean in real life? It means consequences don't land the same. Fear doesn't register the same. And most importantly, other people don't feel real in the same emotional sense.
The psychopathic brain, calm in chaos. One of the most studied profiles is the psychopathic killer. Their brain doesn't spike under stress the way yours does.
See right there, it said their brain do not spike like ours do. So think about that. Think about that. So if Brian, many people say, well, if he was going to interact with people, his brain would be all over the place. It'd be, he'd be not clear. He would definitely screw up. Well, listen to what this has to say.
In fact, many show lower baseline arousal, meaning they are understimulated by normal life. That's why you hear phrases like, he was so calm, no emotion during questioning, almost bored.
To them, violence isn't always rage-driven, it can be stimulating. Their amygdala, which should light up at distress or fear, yours or someone else's, often shows reduced activity. So when someone is begging, crying, or fighting for their life, it doesn't trigger the same internal alarm. It's not always hatred, sometimes it's nothing at all.
Did y'all hear what that said? When someone is fighting for their life, crying, to the killer, it doesn't react the same. They're not able to understand that emotional connection because of the lack of empathy.
The impulsive killer, a brain under siege. Then there's a completely different category, the impulsive or reactive killer. This brain looks almost like the opposite. Overactive amygdala, heightened emotional response; underactive prefrontal cortex, poor impulse control. This combination is volatile. These individuals feel too much anger, rejection, humiliation, and lack the internal brakes to stop escalation.
How are my editing skills? Are they getting better?
Top notch, man. Top notch.
This is where you see crimes of passion, sudden outbursts, violence triggered by perceived disrespect. In these cases, the killer often doesn't plan. The act is explosive, and sometimes followed by immediate regret. But the damage is already done.
Especially serial offenders, operate on an entirely different level. Their brain isn't just different structurally, it's shaped over time by fantasy reinforcement. Repeated violent ideation can actually strengthen neural pathways. The brain begins to reward the thought itself, long before any act occurs. This creates ritual behavior, planning and staging, emotional detachment during the act. To them,
the crime isn't chaos, it's execution. And we have talked about that multitudes and multitudes and multitudes of times. Have we not?
Give me an example of what you're talking about there.
Well, going in straight up to the third floor, doing what, execution would be one person first, the other person second. The more that I've heard of this, the two on the third floor, it appears like they were not intended targets. You get what I'm saying? To me, if Xana wouldn't have been caught somewhere between whether she was running down the stairs, whether she was still in the kitchen, whether she was in the living room area by the step, had he not seen her or heard her, I don't believe those two would have been attacked. I don't.
Right. This would be the Idaho 2 case. Yeah.
Right. But I believe that she interrupted the upstairs, whatever he was doing, then the other two became collateral damage.
Yeah, and so and you know, so it would have been the Idaho 2 case. He wouldn't have forgotten the knife sheath. He's done. Now he grabs the knife sheath. I think I say the fact, but it's the fact I believe that Xana, you know, went upstairs, saw what's going on, and then ran for her life. Last thing he's thinking about is, wait, let me grab my sheath first. No, he's going after her, and then after hearing the dog bark, and after, you know, having seen, you know, maybe seeing Dylan, forget the knife sheath. You got to get out of there. There's, you know,
right. There's already been too much. Yeah. You and I were having a conversation a couple days ago about this, and remember we said Hunter first going up into that area and seeing what he saw. One of the scenarios that we were talking about, if you walk in and you see something like that, and you know these two people, first of all, are you wondering, did they get into an altercation that went too far? Maybe it wasn't stabbing. Maybe it was physical.
Maybe with each other, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if he's not seeing the stab wounds, but he is seeing, like, you know, wounds. I mean, we'll probably never see for ourselves the actual photos of all that. I don't know that I'd even want to.
Right.
But that would kind of answer the question. I know now he's probably got the image stuck in his head forever. Although maybe he didn't, you know, maybe whatever mechanism to protect his own sanity, seeing what he's seeing, you know. Because, you know, it is, I'll admit, you know, it seems like if he did get a glimpse, well, yes, in comparison, now I'm going to sound like a pro burger here. I mean, in comparison, you see the way the officer reacted. The officer assessed the situation pretty quick. Told him to get out, you know, told Hunter to go in the other room. You hear that this is a thing the pro burgers hardly ever talk about, but you can hear on the body cam the other officer with Hunter in the living room ask Hunter. He said, maybe you should give me the knife, and you can hear it being placed on the beer pong table. So I don't see anything. I have no issues with the knife Hunter has. And if you take a clean knife, and put it on a beer pong table that has a red stain near the knife, I mean, what kind of investigative skills are to have go on YouTube live and to start talking about, oh, the knife and the blood stain and everything's all connected and everything? It's like they hardly ever talk about the what is it? It's a White Claw black cherry flavored beer can right next to it, crushed on its side. Now, granted, I've never had one. I don't know if it's, and I did some looking around. I don't know if that comes out wine colored at all, or if it's clear. I have a feeling it's clear though, so that kind of blows that theory.
I think White Claw is generally Zima repackaged. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On what people have said, it's like a seltzered, carbonated alcoholic drink. I've never had one either. But let's continue to watch this, and then we'll talk some more, okay?
The crime isn't chaos, it's execution.
And here's where it gets chilling. Many of these individuals can function normally in society. Jobs, relationships, conversations, because their cognitive empathy, understanding emotions, may still exist, even if emotional empathy, feeling them, does not. They can read you, they just don't care. Nature versus nurture. It's not one or the other. The question always comes up, are killers born or made? The answer is both. Some individuals are born with neurological vulnerabilities, reduced emotional processing, poor impulse regulation, lower fear response, but environment acts as the accelerant: abuse, neglect, exposure to violence, social isolation. A damaged brain in a stable environment may never become violent. But combine biological risk with trauma, rejection, or obsession, and the trajectory can change. The most dangerous factor: normalization. Perhaps the most overlooked piece isn't brain structure, it's justification. Killers, across profiles, often develop internal narratives. They deserved it. I had no choice. This is who I am. Over time, these thoughts reduce internal resistance. The act becomes easier, not just physically, but psychologically. And once that line is crossed the first time, the brain adapts. Violence becomes less shocking, more accessible, more normal. There's a mistake people make when they picture a killer. They imagine someone visibly broken, unhinged, erratic, easy to spot. But investigators will tell you the truth is far more unsettling. Most killers don't look like killers until they do. And even then, only for a moment. In forensic psychology, there's a concept often discussed quietly but observed constantly: the mask. Some individuals, especially those with psychopathic traits, develop an ability to simulate normal human behavior. Not feel it, but perform it. They mirror emotions. They study reactions. They learn what concern looks like. This isn't instinct. It's.
So let me tell you, based on what we just saw, I believe that Koberger mimics a lot of behaviors that he's learned throughout time that are socially acceptable. He doesn't have the emotional connection to them because they're not natural. It's like a rehearsal. It's like he is always an actor, a chameleon, so to speak. Behind the scenes, there's the real Koberger, the one who is not certain of social situation, the one who is not confident, the one who people did observe and say he was weird and he would stare at you and he would do all this stuff. That is really who he is. This other person is the actor. He's able to conform to social norms like anybody else. You watch people interact with people where you say, okay, when I go get my license plate, I can't go in there acting stupid and asking stupid questions. I can't go strutting my criminology stuff, but I can go into the role of being the assertive male, the alpha.
Well, didn't Catherine Ramsland make a statement about, his ability to fool her? She said something along those lines, and I thought that was interesting that somebody who is, a specialist expert in serial killers, and then making comment. I don't know that she was straight out saying he fooled me, but she was saying, with the alleged accusations and everything at the time, whatever it was, that she must have surely been, fooled. She didn't see anything that, was a, let her know. But of course, it just seems like even somebody with a normal, nothing, going on like this that we're talking, you're discussing. If you're a normal person, you've got a friend who's a little bit off and he wants to maybe you go to a store together and he wants to shoplift and you see him doing it. And then you yourself are even telling yourself, well, just be cool. Just, if you've decided you're not going to turn him in, but you have the understanding. It's there's be cool, or maybe it's something less nefarious. It's a surprise party. You're talking to the person that has no idea, in a half an hour, everybody's going to be yelling surprise, but we have the ability to nothing's different. It's just a normal day, Are you sure? Because I have this gut feeling that my friends are, going to throw me a surprise party. What are you talking about? Nobody's called me. I don't know what you're talking about.
we all have the ability to shift emotional gears. He seems to be more of an actor. His don't shift. You mentioned it earlier. It seemed very monotone, very, very calculated. There's a reason for that. I don't believe. It could be his autism. It could be, his fear of saying too much. I got to keep it light. Have you and your wife ever been fighting verbally, and then all of a sudden you walk into a store and instantly it's come on, honey, it stops. And you
Right.
shift into that, we're a loving couple, we love each other and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, you can turn off that you put on the face that you want people to see, the mask, I guess as it is.
Yeah, let's continue this a little bit.
Well, actually, and we'll probably I'm sure we'll go back to the DMV video with Koberger, but the first thing that I noticed when I was watching that, what's the very first sentence he said? We got to look at it to see what she says, but I think she just greets him. And the first thing he says is, I definitely need to, play what's the very first thing that she says and he says?
Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
Pretty good. I definitely need to get my license plate changed.
Okay.
Yeah,
that definitely. I mean, and if you consider the traffic stop when he got pulled over at night, when he says, "Well, I'm obviously an honest person," I just found it kind of interesting. I mean, is he a superhero? He's like adverb. He's adverb man. Well, it seems kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's like let me make sure that you're safe around me. It's kind of like one of those words that lowers your inhibitions a little bit. Well, I'm definitely here just to get my tag and my new license plate. Nothing more, nothing less. So if I hit on you, I told you what I was here for. It's your problem if you take it as something else.
Or is there, well, I mean, it's just guessing, but is it, I know there's some people that probably go into a situation like this, especially with DMV, assuming that it's going to go not smooth, assuming they're going to deny whatever you need to get done. Is it an assertive way a little bit to say, almost as if like the translation would be, you're definitely going to do this because I need to get it done. You're definitely. That's just me reaching, but
that's just a weird word to put there.
Yeah,
it is a weird word.
I mean, I could understand if she said, like, are you sure you need to get this done right now? Oh, I definitely need to get this taken care of. I mean, she didn't say anything to trigger. I definitely.
That is a weird word. I mean, and I'm not gonna point at it as, oh my God, that shows something about Koberger. No, that is a weird word to put there.
Right.
And like you mentioned about the traffic stop, obviously, the word obviously.
Obviously, I'm an honest person. Obviously, I'm here to help you.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm definitely here to help you. I'm not here to
I'm here
end your life.
I read somewhere today where somebody said they heard different. It's, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. It's okay. I'm here for you. I don't know.
I mean, it's so interesting, that clip from Vampire Diaries, that it's so on. I mean, and it has to do with a stabbing. The guy gets stabbed right after he says I'm here to help you. He gets stabbed. I mean, I'm no brain expert, but if Dylan is trying, and God bless her, she's trying her best to recall anything and everything she can. That's what police say to do. See something, say something. Even if it seems insignificant, share it. So, because it might mean something to us or connect with something else. Of course she's doing that. But, in trying to recall like everything of the night before, and you're a little tipsy, do you get things kind of tangled up in your brain where it's like, okay, wait, that was, when your brain's untangled, you're just like, oh, wait, that was just a scene from Vampire Diaries. That wasn't, it was maybe the connection is like because keep in mind too, and I don't think the people that are against Dylan don't give her this benefit of the doubt. At the time, she doesn't know what's going on. As she's being interviewed on the street in front of the house, she has some notion of what's going on. Although she asks about Kaylee, I don't think at that point she doesn't know that Kaylee's dead. And the officer, clearly you can see he's not answering that question out of sensitivity or for all the other reasons that he wouldn't just share with her that, yeah, Kaylee's dead too. But
let me stop you right there really quick. My brain is going to forget this.
Sure.
People are stuck on the 8-hour gap still. But they never mention the part where Dylan when she realizes what's going on, she starts telling the 911 operator there was a guy in our house around 4 a.m. She starts telling it, and the operator's like, no, let's stick to what is going on right now. She does it more than once.
Mm-hmm.
So when she realizes it, other people look at that as she's trying to cover her tracks instead of finally it hit. There was something that wasn't right about last night. And now she's telling it, and nobody wants to hear it even then until the officer comes and starts interviewing her.
Yeah, because think about it. At the moment, or in the moment, what does she do? She goes downstairs. Well, the interaction with Bethany. Doesn't Bethany say, well, Xana was wearing all black?
Yeah.
What can that possibly mean other than Bethany is trying to talk some sense into her or talk her out of, maybe you imagined this. I don't think that Bethany went so far as to say, well, maybe you're just recalling Vampire Diaries from the night before, but maybe that's truly a little bit of that is going on, and that might be the reason that she's not. If she had any notion that a stabbing or anything had happened, maybe the stabbing part is coming from the Vampire Diaries, and she's like, not even considering that. But I truly believe when she says something's happened in our house and we don't know what, I think that's just as true as Brian saying yes when he answers, are you saying you're guilty because you are guilty? I think there's certain things you pick and choose what you want to believe, and you end up taking different off ramps, and you end up way off course. Pro burgers would say I'm way off course because of what I believe. I'm saying there.
Why would you start a 911 call like that, though? There's something that's happened in our house and we don't know what. She's visibly upset. They're passing the phone around. Dylan starts off. The first thing she says is that about 4 a.m. This man was in our house. She didn't say a teenager, a frat boy, someone, a young adult, none of that. She says a man was in our house and he was all in black. And then the operator cuts her off and she's like, no. I want to know right now.
Well, I don't think she got that far, though, did she? I don't think that she got so far as to say he was in black to the 911 operator. Eventually she shares that, yeah.
Yeah.
With the officer.
She shares that, but she starts off with telling right off the bat. So if you're not going to cut her some courtesy, that she at least was trying to tell it once her brain realized, hey, this is something really bad that's going on in our home.
You said cut her some courtesy. On the other side, do you ever see them do that at all? And I see that's a problem. That's when it's almost like saying, well, this individual is evil, is always evil, has never not been evil. You pigeonhole yourself to where you can't see. Your bias has actually blinded you from being open to the other possibilities that are likely the truth. And I think when you look at Dylan that way as the villain, and the only reason I can think of that they see her as the villain is because they have been instructed how to think by Ann Taylor over time, and all the things that she tried to do that failed, but it failed in the court system. It failed with the judge, but it didn't fail with them.
I believe that people need to have a villain. They need a villain.
Yeah,
they don't believe
a common enemy to rally around. Yeah,
right. They don't have enough definitive in their mind to say that Brian did it. You've heard it countless times. They don't have that definitive to say, okay, well, this without a reasonable doubt, this is the dude. So they must villainize somebody else. Dylan is the easiest one because she was an eyewitness to the crime. Bethany, as we've heard, ended up hearing other things, but they've just recently thrown her in the mix. But they villainized the whole damn town. Everybody who knew any of this circle have been run through the ringer. Their names have been doxxed. Now, I saw a family tree today that somebody did. I'm like, God, man. Even if you don't believe Brian did it, That's your point of reference. But these disclaimers that people say, that's what they're called, disclaimers. Every tall person can jump high, can dunk the basketball.
Oh, you mean stereotypes of?
Well, they're disclaimers. They're statement that people have turned into belief systems. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
It's like, well, every bald person is evil looking. They're creepy.
Right.
You know, every old man at the gym is being creepy to the younger girl.
So when that's solidified in their minds, then it is part of all the thinking that comes after that. And they're already off because of that. It's almost like if you say, it's like, okay, this exit 134 is the exit we're supposed to take. And then you get off that exit and it wasn't the exit you're supposed to take. But now everything that you think and do after that is affected by the incorrect thought or action from before. And you can't, so,
because
the other thing,
where do you go from there, Jeff? I mean, where do you go? If you believe that the surviving roommates had something to do with it, that they cleaned it up, that there were sloshing going around as they were cleaning up, where were their bloody clothes? Where were
good point.
Where was all the chemical smells? Where was all the chemicals? Where did they go?
And what about the court hearing where Ann Taylor brought up their acting training and certificates for their acting and ability to come on there, and on the 911 call when they're I think that's Dylan. I'm pretty sure it's Dylan, practically hyperventilating. I don't know. Again, that's why I would say, okay, there must be an acting certificate because that was some serious hyperventilating there. Of course, they're going to. But the other thing, what you were saying, though, as they villainize Dylan, it's a checklist. They're making a checklist. Actually, most recently, they're making a checklist to knock out the light bulb camera, that captures the Elantra driving by 5 times or entering the neighborhood 5 times. Depending on how you count it, but they're trying to tick them away. Yeah.
If we're okay, we'll meet you halfway. If we say it's an Elantra, it wasn't white, it was green.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. So you're meeting me halfway. You're saying the camera distorted the color because it was a nighttime camera, blah, 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 infrared, all this stuff. I get it. Okay, so you're going to meet me halfway. You're going to say it was a green Elantra. Okay. Dylan and Bethany cleaned up in those 8 hours, supposedly, by everybody else's understanding. I don't believe they understand the severity of trying to clean up so that Amito Black would not find traces of blood had they been involved. Brian was able to cover himself from head to toe almost. And we don't know if he was wearing goggles. We don't. People were like, well, how did he not get any on his face? How did he not get any sweat droplets? We don't know if he was wearing goggles. We don't know what he covered his face with. We don't.
Yeah.
So if people are saying that they indeed
hard to say though. I mean, the fact that she could see eyebrows at all might indicate though that because goggles probably would have obscured any eyebrows at all.
Okay, so say. if you have this covered, well, I can't do a very good job, but if you still have goggles on or whatever, you can still see some those bad boys were
not impossible, but this is just where my mind goes. Oh, but you were talking about no, I already said that. Man, I'm getting old. Never mind. You ever get that? It's like, oh, I got to say this. Like you were saying earlier, I got to say this because I'm going to forget it. And then my mind triggered that, but it's like, wait, I just said it a few minutes ago. Carry on, move forward. I rewound, I guess.
Hold on.
Oh, you know what Andy said about Andy says they did the same thing to anyone that said they were from the area. That's why most people stopped talking. I mean, look at the example from early on. That guy Jeremy, the neighbor, when Jeremy was interviewed, everybody was talking about him like, oh, we think it's him. It's like, Enan Harsh. Everybody thought it was Enan. It's like everybody they're like, okay, next, now serving number 34. Okay, what do you have to say? Okay, you're the one. You're the one that did it. You're clear. Okay, now serving number 35. But so I don't blame the town of Moscow for not saying anything. And we're
going to get in this video to the frozen shock phase. Okay, it goes and talks about victimology, stuff like that. So let's finish this up, Jeff, so we can talk about it.
Rehearsal, and over time, the performance becomes convincing enough to pass friends, co-workers, even intimate partners. That's why, after arrests, you hear the same phrase over and over. I never would have guessed. Because what people are seeing isn't the person. It's the version of them designed to blend in. But no mask is perfect. Investigators look for something called behavioral leakage, small, often overlooked signals that something underneath isn't right. These can include inappropriate emotional reactions, smiling at serious moments, flat affect during high-stress situations, fascination with violence or control, subtle boundary testing in conversations. Sometimes it's even more subtle, a pause that's just a little too long, an answer that sounds practiced instead of felt, a reaction that's delayed, like it had to be calculated first. These moments don't scream, killer. But together, they start to form a pattern. The fantasy loop. Where it really begins. Long before the act, there's the thought. And then the replay. And then the escalation. For some offenders.
So, fantasy, the act, replay, and then escalation. So we've always talked about the fantasy. We've always talked about the urge. We've always talked about how this crime was planned way, way long ago. The fantasy, think about it, Jeff. Predators, groomers, I was talking about them last week. Think about that. If you're watching, not necessarily saying he was watching the four, okay? He was watching people. It's been documented 23 times around the area. Whether he was watching this house, he was watching other houses, he was watching things. I believe that right here. I believe there was more than one house that could have been the target. Had he not got caught, I believe that possibly there would have been another murder the next semester had he made it back. Let's finish with this.
Especially those who commit premeditated violence, the brain begins building what investigators refer to as a fantasy loop. It works like this. Initial thought, fleeting, intrusive, sometimes dismissed. Revisiting the thought, curiosity replaces rejection. Detailing the scenario, the mind begins to script. Emotional reward, control, power, relief. Repetition, the loop strengthens. Neurologically, repetition reinforces pathways. The more the fantasy is revisited, the more real and accessible it becomes. Eventually, the line between imagining and doing starts to thin. Trigger versus permission.
So 23 times, you think that's long enough for it to become real for him? People don't want to believe that, though.
Not every killer snaps. In fact, many don't. Instead, what you often see is a combination of trigger and permission. The trigger might be rejection, humiliation, or loss of control. The permission is internal, a belief that the act is justified. This is critical, because without permission, even extreme emotion doesn't always lead to violence. But once someone crosses that internal line, once they believe the act is acceptable, the barrier is gone. And it rarely comes back. After the act, the brain adapts. One of the most chilling realities in violent crime is what happens after. For many offenders, the first act is the hardest, not emotionally, but neurologically. It's unfamiliar, uncertain, high risk, but the brain is adaptive. Afterward, stress responses can decrease. Emotional resistance weakens, confidence increases. In some cases, offenders describe a sense of relief, power, even clarity, which
See, I believe that's what he was exhibiting at the DMV. I believe that's what he exhibited getting a haircut. I believe he exhibited that at the doctor's office in class. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and so you think there's like a you can see like a confidence as a result of that too, and having to also too, the thing that this makes me think of too is like just how amazing the brain is. Like with say I liken it to like dieting. I mean, I've got diabetes. I remember when I first told about it, it's like, oh boy, okay, now I got to watch what I eat. But man, the brain is like, oh, cheesecake.
Right.
Your brain knows that like it shouldn't be doing this. There's I can go over the reasons why I shouldn't be doing this. And next thing you know, you're pushing the empty plate away from the table. And it's like, oh man, that was delicious.
Well, Jeff, you don't think this was confidence?
Yeah. What is that about, right? What was it that somebody suggested? Mom, I buttoned the top button of my shirt myself. Okay.
Oh God,
Really?
I piss people off with that.
I don't remember who initially said that, but they know who they are.
Yeah.
Reinforces the behavior. This is why escalation is so common. What once required buildup becomes easier, faster, more controlled. Why some killers stop and others don't. Not all killers repeat. Some commit a single act and never do it again. Others escalate rapidly. The difference often comes down to a combination of psychological reinforcement, external consequences, internal narrative. If the act solves a problem in the offender's mind, removes anger, restores control, fulfills fantasy, it becomes a viable solution again. But if it creates overwhelming fear, guilt, or disruption, it may never be repeated. This is where brain structure meets personal meaning. Two individuals can commit the same act and walk away with completely different internal outcomes. The investigator's edge, reading the mind without seeing it. Detectives don't get brain scans at crime scenes. They get behavior. So they reverse engineer the mind through crime scene organization, victim selection, method of control, post-crime behavior. An organized scene suggests planning, control, and often fantasy reinforcement. A chaotic scene suggests emotional overload, impulsivity, or loss of control. But here's the key. Most offenders aren't purely one or the other. They exist in the gray area, which is where cases get complicated, and where misinterpretation can happen. The uncomfortable truth. We want killers to be different, obvious, separate from the rest of us. But the deeper you go into the psychology and neuroscience, the more that line starts to blur. Because the traits involved, impulsivity, anger, detachment, ego, fear, aren't foreign. They exist in everyone. What differs is degree, regulation, and the point at which someone decides or allows themselves to act. Closing thought. The mind is the crime scene. Every case leaves behind two scenes. The physical one and the psychological one. The physical scene tells you what happened. But the psychological scene, the patterns, the behavior, the decisions, that tells you why. And if you can understand the why, even partially, you're no longer just looking at a killer. You're looking at a process. One that starts long before the crime. And, in some cases, doesn't end even after it's over.
When people hear mask, they think of something physical, a covering, something worn during the act. But the most dangerous masks aren't worn at the crime scene. They're worn in everyday life. And few names illustrate that better than Brian Koberger, Ted Bundy, and Israel Keyes. 3 different men, 3 different eras, one shared ability: to exist in plain sight, while living something entirely separate underneath.
Koberger's mask wasn't charm. It was intellect and detachment. A criminology student, someone studying crime, behavior, patterns. On the surface, that's curiosity, academic interest, but investigators and behavioral analysts often look deeper at cases like this. When someone studies crime obsessively, the question becomes, are they trying to understand it or get closer to it? The psychological mask, quiet, reserved, socially distant, observational rather than expressive, blends into academic environments. Unlike Bundy, Koberger doesn't fit the charismatic predator mold. Instead, his profile leans toward controlled internal world, possible fantasy reinforcement, emotional detachment rather than emotional manipulation.
The underlying pattern. This type of offender often builds internally. Thought right pointing arrow analysis, right pointing arrow obsession, right pointing arrow action. It's less about impulse and more about process. The mask here isn't warmth. It's normalcy through invisibility. Bundy is the blueprint for the charismatic mask. He didn't just blend in, he stood out. Educated, well-spoken, politically engaged, attractive by societal standards. He weaponized trust. The psychological mask. Bundy's strength was cognitive empathy. He could read people, mirror emotions, create instant familiarity. But emotionally, there was a disconnect. Victims weren't experienced as people. They were part of a narrative he controlled. The duality. Bundy could help someone carry books, then use that exact moment of trust to attack. That's what made him effective and terrifying. Because his mask didn't just hide him, it pulled people in.
When you line them up, the differences are clear. Killer mask type core trait risk style. Kohberger intellectual, detached obsession, internal process targeted, controlled. Bundy charismatic, engaging manipulation, social engineering opportunistic but planned. Keys invisible, compartmentalized control, patience highly strategic, long-term. But underneath those differences, there are shared threads. Emotional detachment. Internal justification. Ability to separate self from action. Here's what connects all three in the most unsettling way. None of them needed to look like killers. They built identities that allowed them to move freely, avoid suspicion, control perception, and once someone can control how they're perceived, they can control how long they go unnoticed.
We tend to think the real person is underneath, but in many of these cases, the mask is part of the person. It's not just hiding something, it's enabling it. Bundy needed charm to access victims. Keys needed invisibility to avoid patterns. Kohberger, if aligned with the theory, needed detachment to operate internally. Different strategies, same outcome. A life lived in two layers. One the world sees, and one that only shows itself when it's too late.
We should be able to help with that.
Do I need proof of insurance?
No, I mean, you have to have it.
Now let's look at this again. You tell me if you see a mask. Okay? Now that you know what we just saw.
Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
Pretty good. I definitely need to get my license plate changed.
Okay. We should be able to help with that.
Do I need proof of insurance?
Does he look like he's looking around a lot, left and right, head on a swivel?
I do need to know the exact miles that are on your car right now.
Let me check that.
Okay, perfect.
About 115.
Oh, okay. So you just have to write that exact mileage right here with no temps. Check the box that says actual, put today's date, and then you'll sign, print, and your street address on the bottom line there.
No.
Bye.
I wish it worked.
Was that the better package?
Yeah, it still wouldn't be a fast car.
Thanks, Lana.
It would be cool.
He's talking about the car there, the model.
Do they not have that one?
I couldn't find it.
Thank you. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's been like a huge shortage on new cars. Like it's hard to find cars right now. I know.
Okay, so if he's trying to fit in, right, in society after he committed a heinous crime, this is normal behavior as what we just heard, right?
Right, right.
The mask is not the mask to them. It's it's like both of them are connected. This is who Brian has created him to be as a person. Many people want to differentiate. He could have not been the killer because of this. He could have not been the killer because of that. He could not have been the killer because of this. But in reality, all those things that they take away from him to be able to be the killer.
Right. It's almost reminds me of a Frank Zappa.
A quadruple amputee has shot somebody in his Tesla.
Right. Anybody is capable of evil. Anybody's capable of good. But I think reminds me of, there's a Frank Zappa song where I think it's kind of talking about what you always see on the news when they interview the neighbor, neighbor of the killer. The neighbor says, "Oh, he's always such a nice guy," but Frank Zappa has a line in a song where it's like, "Oh, he used to mow our grass." I mean, it always seems like, I just couldn't imagine it would be that guy. There was no sign that it would be, that guy.
So do you really, I'm asking you because you're my guest on panel. Is it really feasible that people have that belief system that somebody that's going to mug you is always going to look like the most decrepit person in society?
Right. I think in reality and in real life, yeah, you look for signs as you go through and you interact with strangers. But I think an honest person would say the signs don't matter. Any of these people can be the one that goes off, the one that, when you're looking at the crowd with the Boston bombing. It's two young guys with backpacks. I mean, who's thinking that they're about to, kill it, young people, old people, and not it's just unbelievable,
Well, Jeff, people say the frat guys could have done this, right? Okay, so what makes a frat guy look more like a killer than Brian? They're still in college, right? They all pretty much dressed the same, except Brian dressed a little weird to me, but that maybe that was his style.
I was speaking pretty much. When you said pretty much, did you? Well, maybe you didn't hear, or maybe you did. Yeah, Brian says pretty much. I think if you watch the clip that that's up on there, the full clip, I think it's about, if my memory, I love to say this too. We always love expressions. Brett Payne's, if memory serves, it was 12:06, I think, in the full video where Brian says pretty much. When I heard that, I thought, oh man, that's.
Did I say it?
Yeah, you just said pretty much in whatever you just said.
I didn't even realize I did that.
Not in the same way. You didn't say at the end of a sentence. You said it was in the middle of a sentence. But
okay.
Pretty much.
But in reality,
you should call this the Pretty Much Podcast. This is welcome to the Pretty Much Podcast.
But I don't know what people's mentality is when they visualize a criminal, because all that I've read and all that I've studied, there's no definitive pattern or look that deciphers who or what is more culpable of committing a crime. Right. I see kids that have been convicted of criminal act that you would be like, there's no way that they would be able to do that. They look so sweet. They look so innocent.
Yeah.
But yet they hacked their mom up. They hacked their grandma up. Looking at somebody and deciphering whether they could be a killer or not is the most amateur way to ever look at a crime case that I can think of.
Just you think about what was it in
video? Come on.
Right. Was it in South Carolina where I think his name was Dylan? He went into that Bible study. He sat through the Bible study, and then he murdered those people, in that church. They clearly, there's nothing that, they didn't have him sit down. And if they suspected anything, they seemingly would have done something. But I think the, not to get all religious and stuff, but the good book talks about like having control over your thought life. Your thought life is very important. It's to have that apprehended or, and in control, because your thought life out of control can take anyone down a dark path. You know, the good book also says there's none good, no, not one, right? There's nobody is good completely. Every one of us have, you know, fallen short, right? Nobody's perfect.
Well, look at the last 2 weeks, the YouTubers that have fell off, where multitudes of people flocked to their channel. And now they both are allegedly in the eyesight of the law.
Right.
For different reasons, but they both talked about these events on their channels nonstop. Like I always say, the best way to get away with something is in plain sight. You want to trick the world? Make sure you're seeing every 5 minutes. You want to run a smoke screen? Make sure that you're the most, virtuous individual behind the scene or in front of the camera. There's no way that person could have done that.
What is that song? It's my poker face. Poker face.
Yeah. I mean, many people have gotten away with crimes. I was watching this person that was he ran from the FBI for 27 years. 27 years. And he was dealing drugs, murdering people. He was running back and forth from Haiti, you know. And it might have been the guy that was the biopic Blow. Have you seen that movie Blow with Johnny Depp?
No.
I think it was based on that story, some of it. But this guy got away with so much, it's almost like a movie, you know? I don't know. Whatever people believe is what they believe, Jeff. Whatever you believe is what you believe. Whatever the chat believes is what they believe.
And that's, you know, it's a compelling subject.
I believe this.
Sorry. Yeah.
I look at people differently than anybody else I know. Does it make me special? I don't know. Is it a gift from above? I don't know. But I can sense shady people, people that are deceptive, people that just aren't right mentally by looking in their eyes. You can see a lot when you look at somebody. You can see if you're really looking, you'll see it. And I've worked with people for 20-something years, 2 decades. Had multitudes of people in front of me, killers, drug dealers, cartel members, blah, blah, blah. You name it. They've sat across the desk from me. And they all want you to be non-judgmental. They want to present that front, to build rapport, to make you an ally, to manipulate you, to get you to that point where you're not shining the spotlight on them. You're actually believing what they're saying as they want you to think. That way, when they mess up, they can ask for forgiveness. And that is a plot in itself, too. That's why when I look at people on YouTube, I'm like, bro. Jimmy Swaggart up here asking for money, you know, behind the pulpit. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
right.
But I mean, when you work with the criminal-minded people, it changes you. Because, you know, sometimes you have to go in some dark places to be able to be one step ahead of the people you're trying to monitor. And it takes you into some dark places that you never forget. You know, when people say prison is like this and prison's like that, have they ever worked in a prison? Have they ever walked the prison roads? I mean, I'm not talking to any of my guests. I'm talking about people just in general that are the so-called experts of what prison's like. You know what I mean?
Right.
Prison is ran by the LBGTQ community. They still have that old stereotype, and I'm sure it exists some places, but not. They have a law called the PREA law here in Texas, and all somebody has to do is drop a PREA on you, and that's another charge. It's a sexual case, and nobody wants a sex case in or out of prison. And you know that PREA law protects individuals who are part of that community from being exploited. It protects people from raping people, all that stuff. So all that violence and stuff, it does happen in the prisons, but not as much as it used to. And the prisoners run the prison. The guards don't. They're just there to maintain order of some point. The prisoners run the prison. If they want Brian, they're going to get Brian. It doesn't matter what prison he moved to. They want Daybell, they're going to get Daybell. Any of them. They want him bad enough, they're going to get him.
Let me ask you, with that regards to that, how much of the people that are in prison, and specifically I'm asking about Brian, do you think he wants to talk about this? Do you think is it difficult to not be talking about this? Or is it like, is that part of the game and it's like that he's loving it, that he's watching everybody try and tell the story of what happened, but he's the only one that knows it? Is he loving that they're getting it, that he's hearing all these different versions of his story? Or does that drive him nuts, that it's like, I just want to correct everybody and tell the actual story?
I can't claim to know what he's thinking or believing. I mean, but I would venture out to say that based on his personality, the fact that he chose not to speak where it could have cleared some of the dust, he's either enjoying the notoriety or he doesn't care. The only thing he cares about is what's happening to him at the moment. He's no longer a free man. He's no longer on the street. So why live notoriously through your crimes? He didn't commit enough crime to have that mindset. You get what I'm saying?
You think like at the
Bundy, Gacy, all those people, I could see them reliving all the people they killed.
Right. Yeah. I'm wondering if, like, when he went for the plea deal, do you think he walked in and said, I definitely need this death penalty off the table. I definitely need it. And it's all about that. I just want to. And do you think there's a possibility that they said, look, we'll take it off the table? You think they had conversation about him not making any statements? Do you think the conversation might have gone like, look, if you make a statement and it opens up something, or if you attack one of the, you try to inflict additional pain on the victims' families that have already gone through pain, that could tip this, over, and it could fall apart, and we would be right back in trial.
The question that you asked would have been answered by the jury. Okay? The questions you're asking. Had Brian spoke, had he, said something, let something out of the bag, if there would have been a trial, there would have been a jury, it would have been up to how the jury perceived him blurting that out. What you're saying is, had he spoke at the victim or at his plea deal sentencing, would that have messed anything up? No, because he would have already been pleading to everything that they had on him, the evidence. So him getting up there and saying, well, you know what, your daughter was saying, oh, daddy, or squealing, whatever he might have said.
Whatever hurtful thing he would have said, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, after Olivia said what she said, I would have seen him possibly doing that. just to kind of dig at them one more time. But I don't believe that he ever once known what happened. Not because of notoriety, not because people are still talking about it and it gives them an ego boost. I believe that he possibly believes that he committed the perfect murder, even though he got caught. And one thing about the DNA that I want to bring up that people never talk about, and I've talked about it countless times. You've heard it here on 12 Gauge Investigative Podcast first, okay? At least for tonight. One thing that people never talk about, they say, well, how could he have got the two at the top and then went to the bottom and there be no DNA from the two at the top? The person who he was looking into, Danny Rowling, he washed the bodies off with bleach. Cleaned the bodies after he killed them with bleach. We don't know if the bodies were clean. I don't believe he cleaned Xana and Ethan, but he could have possibly cleaned Maddie and Kaylee. I don't know.
Is there time for that? If he's probably in the house at about 4:09, right? He goes by the Linda Lane camera at 4:07:30. How much time between driving past that camera and getting in the house, you think?
How long does it take to wipe somebody off with a Clorox wipe?
Well, I'm just wondering if because we do have the other times that we can line up that 4:17. It sounds like that's when probably Xana's being killed. So he was probably upstairs.
I'm not talking about wipe everything down. I'm talking about possibly wipe them down a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe the knife, or wipe the knife off on the comforter.
Well, I mean, like if you, the best reference that I seem to keep going back to is that Ukrainian girl stabbed on the train. That guy didn't seem to care about wiping off the knife, and so you could see the little trail he left as he walked down the aisle. And it's not a lot, but that's the other thing too. He stabbed her only 3 times, and 20 seconds later, right, she's gone. I think.
Why do you think
had he wiped the knife off on her, I think he probably would have walked down that center aisle and there'd be very little, if any, blood. Maybe just a couple of drops, which is, I think, what we see in the house.
I believe Brian wiped the knife on something. He could have wiped it on Kaylee's clothes if she was wearing
He could have wiped it on his own leg. I mean, what do you do with a knife when you're fishing and you got to clean it off? You wipe it on your leg,
We don't know. We don't know. And, I mean, obviously there was something that caused that to happen. I don't believe it was inadequate police investigation. I don't believe
the cause what to happen. The blood from the third floor being on the second.
Yeah.
Oh.
Kaylee's blood being on the second floor.
I don't understand why a couple drops of Kaylee's blood on the second floor, for some, means that she had to have been killed on the second floor. I think it would seem to me to have to be the cast off from the knife. He just used it upstairs. Now he's running downstairs chasing Xana.
I don't believe people really still internalize the violence of this crime. As much as they talked about it for all these years, I don't believe they still understand the brutality and violence of it. They've seen the crime scene pictures with the blood. There's not enough blood. Jesus, how much more blood do you want?
Right. And of course that means that Kathy Mabbitt's lying.
I mean, honestly,
everything's a lie. Everything's a lie.
Well, everything's a lie when you have an ulterior motive to keep this going.
Right.
I don't have an ulterior motive. Somebody told me one time, well, you're monetized, so therefore you must like getting money from it. Well, let me tell you something right now. I'm not monetized right now. I haven't been for like 2-3 months. I'm on timeout from YouTube, So when we talk, when we talk about this, it is just strictly just talking about it.
Yeah.
It's not trying to solve the case. Because what if? Well, what if? Nobody's ever going to know the answer to that what if. Or it doesn't make sense. This doesn't add up. That doesn't add up. Well, unless you're a crime scene investigator on the case at the actual scene of the crime, walking the building, and even the walkthrough that we've done with the virtual walkthrough, they're so distorted. We don't get the solid. Did any of those steps creak? Did any of the floors creak? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did any of the blood?
The smells of the house as well.
Right. I mean,
all the senses that come into play.
We don't know why they didn't smell the blood, but people want to believe that since blood dries, it has a rust smell or whatever. Since people have smelled crime scenes and they've actually smelled blood, then every crime scene is the same. That is what's called an absolute statement. An absolute is there can't be another angle. This is it. This is it. You know what I mean?
Carla just made a good.
I like this.
Carla just said.
No, don't put that up there.
Yeah.
There's also the prison angle that I believe is the reason why he just chose to stay silent in the courtroom. And she has worked in a prison with offenders as well. I mean, but don't believe us. We're just on the front line. She has multiple degrees. She's worked with offenders. She's worked with, families, all this stuff. Don't believe us. We just have degrees and we have frontline, everyday dealings with people. Take it from the people that only decipher it from videos and photos and documents.
This is why they bring in experts into the courtroom, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Why don't they bring in YouTubers to talk about their expertise out in the stand? Did any YouTuber we know get a subpoena to the court case? Honestly, did any
TikToker was in the other seat, the defendant's chair.
You know what I mean? Did any of them get a subpoena with all their expertise and all their knowledge and all their capital typing? Did any of them get any subpoena to the case?
Right.
Had there been a trial, would we have seen these people that are so contrarian in these chats and so contrarian with their posts and wanting to make people look dumb and foolish like they're the smartest in the room? Have they ever been called as an expert witness to a murder trial? Probably not, because they probably never have seen a murder scene. They've never worked with the dynamics of a criminal investigation. It's not what you see on TV. It's not what you see in a 5-minute video. An active crime scene, there's always something coming and going. We didn't get to see it because they didn't film it. We would have got to see it had there been a trial, probably. And what about the Pharaoh scanning that never got to be shown? You remember the Pharaoh scanning?
Yeah, that was the 3D software cameras.
That would have been so awesome to be able to see that.
Yeah.
That would have shown everything as it was, as they found it. We would have got to see probably the photos that have been shown. Who the hell knows? They might have shown everything. The autopsy photos, everything.
How much of this do you think that trying again to get in the mind of Kohberger? How do you think he's thinking about how he will be in the trial, during the trial, seeing imagery that would instantly be familiar to him, probably would cause a reaction Do you think he wants to completely avoid that uncomfortable scene, altogether,
Did
for
he look
fear of?
Did he look uncomfortable to you at any point that he started appearing before the cameras in court? Did he ever look uncomfortable to you? Did he ever
Really?
look?
I mean, the
Did he
most you
ever
see is
look
like the clenching jaw.
Did he ever look like, oh my God, I'm about to break. I can't handle it anymore. I'm shrinking in my chair. Any of that.
Yeah.
Did he ever look uncomfortable to you? I don't believe the man has the capability to be normal, no matter what people want to say. He is a chameleon. He is an actor and he is a chameleon. The actor is the yes, yes, yes. The chameleon is the Brian that we saw being contrarian, argumentative almost to the officer about the seatbelt. The stories that we've heard from other people about him. There's a side to everybody that is not so pretty. I don't care what people say. We're not one dimensional. But people sure do want to make Brian one dimensional. They want to make everybody else a potential suspect. And you have to ask yourself, what is the reason for that? Is it money? Is it popularity? The more that we focus on everybody in Moscow and Pullman and everyone in that state of Idaho, then the fact that I know these people's names like they're my family members,
right?
That I'm a great investigator because I've doxed people. There's one creator that talks as if she is best friends with everybody in Moscow. And I know you know who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Every time she does a video, she's talking about, oh, that's Kent over there, and that's Jessamy, and that's so and so, and this person lives over here, and they had interaction with Hunter, and they knew Hunter through this person, that person. What does all that have to do with the crime?
Right. Yeah, I've always said that's just a person trying to take down the entire city of Moscow on her own. I don't know what or the way you just described it, it almost sounds like somebody who was a loner in high school sitting at a lunch table with one friend, and they're talking about all the people across the room. Oh yeah, that's Fred, he's the quarterback, and he's dating this person over there, and it's like oh, you friends with him? No, I'm just observing from a distance over here.
I know him, he's in my trig class.
Yeah, he's in my 18 contacts that are in my phone. He's one of my 18.
Hey Carla, I'm down with that if you're willing to come up on panel and discuss your knowledge of that as well. She said next time you guys should talk about what would the day in prison look like. I'm down with that. You got to come up on panel though and give your expertise.
Because, but you were asking earlier why they're doing this. Why are they?
Not why. What makes them do this?
No, I'm talking about the other YouTubers.
No. Don't ask why. Don't ask why. What would be the reason?
My first gut reaction would be content. Because let me ask you this: if say instead of a murder, we're not trying to figure out a murder now. We're trying to figure out where my car keys are, right? And you were looking all over the house. Every night we have an episode. Nope, they're not in the bathroom. Nope, they're not in the closet. Nope, they're not in the bedroom. They're in the kitchen on the counter, right? So we look and we see them on the counter. It's like, ooh. If we go over there, find the keys, show's over. We got no more content. So they turn the blind eye to what they know. The keys are right over there. The keys have had a conversation where the keys have taken a plea deal and are sitting there, and that's the answer to this whole mystery. But no, we're not going over to that part of the kitchen counter. We're going to redact that, and not go there.
The keys have been found. We just don't want them to be found.
Right.
Do you think we could have more content on this? Do you think we would have more people involved in
You
what
need
came.
that theme song. I fought the law and the law won.
Do you think I'll have headlines saying, "Look, 12 Gage is a criminal"?
At least you are wearing your seatbelt, though. Were you obviously an honest person and you had it on the
I'm
whole
an
time?
honest person, Jeff.
You're obviously an
And as
honest
you
person.
can tell, that was today because I'm wearing the same shirt, the same hat.
That's a bummer of a feeling when you got the
That
lights in the
was
rearview mirror.
I was trying to be smooth, like record her.
Mm-hmm.
I had the GPS map up there for the DoorDash, right? And I pushed it. I got that brand new holder today, and I pushed it down. And I pushed the camera on, and when you're nervous, you're pushing a stupid button. And
Right.
instead of video, it was like portrait, AI, all this. No, I want video. I want video. Finally, I got video, and I'm like moving
Yep.
it ever so slowly so I could get the back.
Hands on the dashboard, man.
Yeah, it's like,
Keep
what are
your
you
hands where
doing?
I can see them.
What are you doing? Nothing.
I remember I was on my way to a show. The band was playing out at this place. I was like a couple minutes from the place. I got pulled over because I had a dead inspection sticker. And I was talking to the officer, but at the, by the, I, while he was in the car behind me, and I had to let everybody know why I'm running late. Send him a picture. I said, "This is why I'm running late. I'm just a few minutes away." But in the end, the officer understood. I said, "Look, I got a cracked windshield. Just got to fix it." And I said, "The crack's not even in front of my face. It's right here in the middle. It's not." But you make excuses. He was cool. He just gave me a warning. And then I told him, I said, "Hey, we're performing right down the street, just 2 minutes away." Told him where it was. I said, "Come on by if you want, check us out." So, but
I've never received a warning from a female officer. All the warnings I've ever had have been from male officers.
Oh, interesting.
Females always give me a ticket. No, I saw you roll through it.
Yeah. Is that toxic femininity?
I'm like, I was thinking to myself, I didn't say it. I was like, I am not about to be asked to get out of the vehicle because you're being confrontational. I was thinking to myself in my head, I was thinking, I drive a Tundra. And if you drive any truck in that range, you understand, or any vehicle that's heavy like that, you understand that it takes a little brake action to slow the momentum. And you're just had I rolled through it, the truck would have kept going through the stop sign. I know damn well I stopped.
Yeah.
It might not have been as long as she liked, or she caught me out of the corner of eye, and it looked like I rolled.
Oh, I see. I see what you mean. I think because of the weight of the truck, you are actually slowing down earlier than most people, which means you have all that opportunity and time to see, and then you get to the point where it's everything has been well observed, and it's like, okay, now I can go.
Yeah. I don't ever slam on my brakes. My truck is heavy. Like, I have to start slowing down way before the stop sign, or the stoplight or the vehicle in front of me.
Well, now I wonder if it's the kind of thing. How difficult would it be for you to get the dash cam from the officer to see what you did?
She didn't have a body cam on, so.
Or I mean the dash cam from her car. Is she?
I don't know. Maybe she didn't even have it on.
Yeah, that's kind of too bad when there's no. So it's your word against hers.
Right. She was not behind me because there was nobody behind me. So she had to be on the other side of the interstate, cross under the bridge, and then, I didn't see where she came from. I wasn't paying attention. I was paying attention to the GPS signal.
Yeah.
And then I look up and I see the lights flashing. I'm like, oh, Jesus.
Man, if I got a ticket for every time I didn't come to an absolute complete stop, Even my daughter, you know, she was learning to drive and everything, and she's like, clearly, I'm not going to learn from you. Because right in our neighborhood, there's a right turn. I mean, you come to a T basically. It's an odd T that you can go straight or you can go to the right. And so that's all you see. The moment you're coming up, you see the vehicle. If there's a vehicle in front of you, you see the one to the right. It's easy to assess. Okay, I can make a right. It's not like you got to also look at the one on the left, the lane on the, because there is none. It's just it's so simple. So, so it's one of those things. It's like, and that's the thing too, isn't it? A little bit, even with the Koberger case and everything, there's discussing, like we're discussing now, we can discuss the law and what they can prove in court and what the rules are and why the rules are there. Or we can actually talk about and examine the reality, the real life of the thing. What's really happening? What really happened? Because if, I'm really not interested in talking about the Idaho case if it's all we're going to discuss is, well, what can be proven in court? What can they get away with in court? I mean, that really? No, I want to know what's really going on, what really happened, not just what can be proven. I'm not here to just play a game of Clue. It's not that. This is we truly just want a full understanding, not just like, oh, well, they can't prove that. So if you say, well, you can't prove something, does that mean it didn't happen? Sorry, I think it could. Something can happen that isn't.
Come on, man. So remember, very early on, we were told there's no evidence. There's no evidence. There's nothing.
Right, and they even said there's no video of the bodies coming out of the house. Now there is.
And now it's, well, let's not focus on the fact that we can't see the bodies, but the fact that they're talking about these bodies.
Right. Yeah, no, I didn't mean you could actually see them coming out, but yeah, the redacted video of the
what's Mabbott bodies. Say? You want my booties or something, my covers as
my booty. The boot covers. Yeah, yeah.
I hear people have been on that nonstop.
Yeah, I found out about it before I even knew that she said it because I hadn't seen that part yet. Somebody in chat said, "Did you get your free pair of Mablett's booty?" I was like, I don't know what you're even talking about. And then I saw it.
Hey, Carla.
Hey.
How's it going?
It's going. How are you guys doing?
Well, just shooting shit.
You got any tickets lately, Carla?
Do what?
Have you gotten any tickets while you're driving or anything lately? Or?
Well, I didn't get a ticket, but I moved to a smaller town, and it's definitely a sundown town. So I did definitely get pulled over, and some inappropriate comments were made, but all in all, I did not get a ticket.
There's a warning.
Yeah.
Oh. That place is racist?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Definitely.
Well, I got a ticket earlier.
Oh.
She got me like, I guess she was on the other side of 20, going toward Kahoma.
Uh-huh.
Right there, and there's underpasses and stuff. I guess she was hiding behind one. So, yeah. Want to pay my ticket?
Maybe she knew who you were. Maybe she thought, oh, he's going to be recording this. I'm going to end up on his show. I'll be famous.
I thought she was going to step up on my, my truck's high off the ground. I thought she was going to use the little side step to talk, because she was leaning in like this.
She like the little woman in The Incredibles that designs.
And I was like, what in the world? She kept doing this. So I was like, okay.
She's like, we represent the Lollipop Guild.
She said, so she had a lot of questions. I mean, I was ready for her. So, is this your vehicle? Yes, ma'am. Um, where'd you come from? What are you doing? Where are you headed? Anyway.
What's your sign?
Yeah. Is this really your name? Well, huh. Anyways, Carla, let's
Yeah.
talk. Let's talk about a life in the day of.
Yeah.
That was a good idea. I mean, that was a good suggestion. What would tell the folks a little bit about? I mean, not necessarily where you worked, but what kind of prison it was, and what you saw, whatever, and if you can relate to anything we're talking about.
Yeah, so if now people are wondering like, okay, he got found guilty, what does a day-to-day life for him now look like, right? I can tell you where I worked, which, it's been years ago, I mean, so I can say it now. I worked at the Clements unit in Amarillo, so that's a maximum facility, so means that we get the worst of the worst. So if the crime would have been committed, maybe in Texas, that's probably maybe one of the prisons he would have gone to, if we could suppose. So he's gonna be definitely in custody at the highest level in the beginning, just because of he is a high profile. So whenever you get sent to prison, it's kind of like you are just there, meaning that they come in and they don't look at the crime. They look at the crime that you did, but they're going to issue you a custody level. And so that is mainly going to be about, like, they take a lot of different things into consideration. For him, he's high profile. So meaning that, he's famous for the crime that he did. He's, not well liked. So for his safety, they're going to have to, isolate him. So that's why he more than likely is going to be in the maximum security part of the prison. So whether or not he could have a roommate, or he would be in a cell by himself. More than likely, he's probably in a cell by himself if I were to take a guess, just because he's high profile and they need to keep an eye on him, because they're going to make sure, like, he stays alive and all that kind of stuff. But so one thing that we have to remember is that while in prison, while they do have access to television and shows and stuff like that, it is very limited. So a lot of the prisoners, they may not know exactly, that he's high profile, unless, the family start talking, or hey, once it becomes public of where he's going, because they don't typically let them watch crime shows in the prison, because that's only going to glorify, their crime. So the access to the television and the channels is very limited. So that's kind of one thing that I wanted to say. Breakfast for the inmates. Breakfast is at 4 a.m. Lunch is at 11, and dinner is at 4. So it's a very early breakfast. Either you get up, in GP, which is general population, and that's not where he's at. They get up and they go to breakfast. Where he is at in maximum security, they bring the meals to them, because he's going to be in his cell 23 hours out of the day, with 1 hour where he gets to get out of the cell and walk around in the yard. And it'll probably just be him out there walking around in the yard. And that only takes place if they're fully staffed. So he could go days without even stepping out of his cell. Commissary for those inmates is a once a week. They can put in their commissary order, and then they'll bring the commissary to them if he does have money. He does, even in maximum security, he does have access to telephone. So he will be able to make, phone calls at certain times because he's not in there for punishment, right? He's in there because he's high profile. So if you're in there for punishment, meaning like you broke rules and stuff in the prison and you get thrown into maximum security because as a punishment, no, you would not have access to phones. But he would have access to phones because he's not in there for punishment. He's in there for pretty much for protection. So he would be able to have cell phone. I mean, not a cell phone, access to a telephone. Yeah, we no.
No, you
Now
said it
he
right. You
would
said
he
it
would
right. You
still
said it.
get he still would get visitation as well, he still would get visitation too. So because he's once again, just because he's, not being punished. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people talk about, I heard it or saw in the comments, well, prison justice. Oh, prison justice still exists. That has never gone away. It's something that they deal with a lot, and that's one of the reasons why they would put him straight into maximum security to keep him safe, because like a crime of this magnitude, really does hit home with a lot of the offenders. It's a crime against kids. I mean, they weren't kids, but they were just, young adults. And yeah, I mean, it was brutal, and it was advantageous. He came, like a thief in the night, when he supposedly, well, he's been found guilty, so when he did this crime. So yeah, they're gonna put him in there just as a just to protect him from the other inmates, because I mean, if he cannot go to general population, he won't ever be in general population. Uh, that just won't happen. They might, maybe 20 years from now, when all of the media and stuff and everybody has stopped talking about it, he might go into GP then, but not anytime soon. Not anytime soon. But that's kind of a day in a life of, of somebody. I mean, whenever you are in maximum security, he is going to have his shower and a toilet, in his cell. So he doesn't leave his cell for any reason. Everything comes to him. If he needs medical assistance, medical will come to him unless it's an emergency and they have to take him. But everything comes to him. He won't have access to really walk around much.
I have
So
a question for you.
Yeah.
You have
Go ahead,
you
Phil.
have a degree in criminal justice like I do. You're probably a little more versed on it than I am. I'm still fairly new, but um, do you believe that he'll ever they'll ever reopen the case for any reason? Can you tell the audience, like, when a case is closed, like his case right now is closed pretty much.
Mhm.
Oh, I
Mhm.
said that word again. Pretty much. His case is closed. So, in order to reopen it, can you tell the audience exactly what would have to take place?
I mean, in general terms, I can. I mean,
Yeah, do
he's been
that.
found guilty. He's been found guilty. So he does have appeals that he can, go through. But in order for any of those appeals to really have any weight to them, he would have, it's now the burden of proof is on him. So remember, whenever we started the case, the burden of proof was on the part on the state of Texas. The Texas
Idaho.
had to be the
Idaho.
one to prove everything, right? They were the ones that held that burden of proof. His was just reasonable doubt. Now the tables have turned. For his appeals, he has all of the burden. He has to be able to show in his appeals why he is warranted a new trial. And the state of Texas,
I know it.
uh, it is very tough to get that happening in the state of Texas, because you have to have new evidence. They're not going to go back into court to talk about what. No, like, you have to present something very strong that was new. Not only is it going to be new evidence, but this new evidence would have to have so much weight on it that it would have created reasonable doubt. And so that is a tall order. So a lot of offenders, they don't necessarily want to prove new evidence because there probably isn't any new evidence, but what a lot of the angle that they want to use is going to be inappropriate behavior. Like, did the prosecution, did they follow everything to a T? Did they disclose everything that they were supposed to disclose? So, they have access through the legal library to get in there and start to really, and that's how some offenders go out, to their appeals, is that they want to be able to prove, that they didn't do it right. You know what I mean? Like, things were not filed correctly, or perhaps they didn't talk to all of the witnesses that they should have talked to. And if they would have perhaps talked to this particular witness, it would have changed things. So
Right.
that's a lot of the times that's how the offenders want to go, because there isn't any new evidence. Like, to present new evidence, that's hard. That's a very tall order, but they want to get them on the technicality, you know and so and try to beat the case. Their whole thing is trying to be, so at that point, it's, they're not saying that they're innocent or guilty. They're just trying to beat the case, and because
Right.
they know a lot of the times, they aren't
Well,
guilty. But
one thing that people, I don't know if they're confused on it or they don't understand it. Brian has to be the one to bring forth any of
Mhm.
it.
Yes,
So
that's right. Yes.
he is the one that has to be like, I want this looked into, I want that looked into. Um, but also, people don't understand as well. The judge told him that by taking the plea deal,
Mm-hmm.
that he had bound by that plea
Mm-hmm.
deal. If he goes and asks for another trial or something of that nature, then the plea deal would be retroactive, and all the evidence, he already admitted to guilt on it. Like
Mm-hmm.
like he already admitted to the quadruple murders. He already admitted to the burglary. So how are you going to present that in front of a court after you've admitted before God and everybody, and then you're going to want to present evidence to show that it wasn't you? How is that going to happen? You get what I'm saying here?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I mean, and he's basically gonna spend the rest of his life in prison, because that's just not gonna happen.
yeah,
You can't, that in the deal that was made with him is sealed. It's
yeah,
sealed. It doesn't. I mean, it would have to be like a bombshell that come out, and there is, I just don't foresee it. I really don't,
I don't either. Jeff,
I
do
mean,
you see anything that, not what YouTubers have brought forth, but anything that you've looked into on your own? Is there anything that would be brought forth that might be viable for another trial?
No.
yeah,
No, but no,
no.
I would. I think the first thing it makes me think of is, like, I mean, Judge Shipler seemed to cover all bases.
Yeah.
Are you happy with your attorney? Yes. Were you
Mm.
coerced into saying this? Yes. Were you paid to say this? Are you saying you're guilty because you are guilty? Yes.
Mhm.
Did you enter the house with this intent to do this and kill this person and that person? I mean,
Yeah.
I can't think of anything, and the fact it was so detailed and thorough, that just reveals to me, even if you don't know a bunch about the process, that sounds like, oh, okay, you're trying to be sure you covered every base to make sure that there is no wiggle room and later on to you know. I mean, what do you think's going through Ann Taylor's mind as all this is happening? She's sitting right there. Is she adding up her money that she's made off this case, and she's like, "Oh, finally, I can go to sleep without thinking about what I got to do tomorrow or next week." Or
You know, I don't think people understand that court-appointed attorneys and the prosecutor meet more often and talk than they realize. Like, they may show division in the courtroom, but you know what? They have conversations all the time. The discovery that is being taken from one to the other, everybody has the same evidence. It's not like one thing is being kept from the other, because that would automatically possibly make a mistrial even before the trial was even had. You know what I mean? Like, if they were, that's why she was fighting so hard for those motions of discovery, because either they weren't giving everything all at once, or it was getting a little piece at a time, like she was saying. And she was worried that they were going to get to a point where whatever they didn't have, they weren't going to get it. Because by the point that the judge gave them, I think it was Judge Judd that said, y'all need to have all discovery by this date. Otherwise, anything after that date, it's not going to be admissible in the court. So I don't know if the prosecution was stalling a little bit. Maybe they weren't going as fast as they could have, but there was a lot of motion for discovery. And I believe that that's part of the reason why there were so many motions, because they were either not getting everything, based on a time frame that they were supposed to or whatever. But I mean, both sides get the same amount. It's a very transparent process. There's no secrets like people think. It's not one side versus the other. Ann Taylor is merely just representing Brian. She's not representing the evidence. You get
how often
that?
do you can they make a motion for something, probably knowing full well that the reality of the motion or what they're going for? Like for example, say they think Bethany has exculpatory evidence, or so it seems. Are they allowed to make a motion if they know she doesn't have it? But if they know it by making a motion to get exculpatory evidence that they think she has, that word gets out. It's in the court records now, and it's an idea that's planted, even though they probably know full well she doesn't. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like to just get it out there, or do you have to be able to show the judge and the court system this is the reason we feel Bethany has exculpatory evidence? So that's the only way you can make a motion, is to have something that.
Well, I'm gonna answer it, then I'm gonna let Kay answer it. Okay. Working in the court process that I've done up to this point, everything that you bring before the court, you must have evidence to validate your claims. That's my understanding. Carla,
how strong does it have to be?
You want to answer that?
Well, okay. So a lot of it is whenever they're going on the record, right? The reason is because that's all we're going to have, once it's said and done, right? It's going to be that. So the defense, they have to be able that whenever we pull those transcripts, that they are doing everything in the best interest for their client, that they are asking the right questions, that they are bringing forth evidence, that they are informing the court of this or that. All of that because that's just part of it, right? Because later on, he's going to have access to those transcripts, and if they didn't represent him correctly, that can be a problem later on. So yeah, so anytime they're going to, whenever either party says to the judge that they have evidence that they want to bring forth, you got to bring it forth. How strong that is, it matters, and the person that's going to have a final say so on whether or not that gets entered, is going to be the judge. So just like, if he sat there and he was telling his court appointed attorney, you know I want the judge to know that, I they were wrong, I had pizza, not a hamburger. Well, in the scheme of things, that who cares, that was such a small detail. But legally, that defense can be like, Your Honor, we have evidence that he was eating a pizza and not a hamburger. And they're getting that into the court, they're getting that on the record because, that's their job. Now the judge can turn around and say, that's irrelevant, doesn't matter that he was eating pizza and not a hamburger, we're moving on. But okay, well, we got it out there and the judge heard it, and the judge is the only one that can say, so I mean, it doesn't matter how strong we think that in the defense side, it doesn't matter how strong or how weak. The job there is that we have to inform the court. If there is evidence or if there was something, we have to bring it forth. But a lot of the times with these plea deals, all of that, basically they like, Marty is absolutely correct, 1,000%, 1,000%. They have more conversations than what we think. The defense has already gone to the prosecution and has said, hey, here's everything we've got. They already know, what they may not know the angle that they're going to play or how it's going to all come out. I mean, but the evidence is the evidence, if that makes sense. So they're already going to know, like, oh, they're going to bring that up. There's very rare cases where it's all a surprise, because if it's something that's a surprise and the prosecution didn't have access to it, then that's a problem,
Right.
or vice versa. So yeah, I mean, that's just my answer.
That's a great example that you brought up as far as hamburger and pizza, because I mean, the word exculpatory means that there's something that this witness possibly could have that would be beneficial to the defendant. That's all that says. It doesn't mean that that's going to, just like you said, it doesn't have, it could have strength enough to change the perspective of the case, or it could just be irrelevant and the judge has say so over what directive he's going to take. So people have been hung up on that from the very beginning, because it was stated that Bethany had some exculpatory evidence, but they don't speak on the inculpatory evidence that has been presented over and over and over. They refuse to look at, and I'm just talking about people in general that I've listened to. They refuse, in the media, they refuse to look at the evidence sometimes that is inculpatory. Like you said, maybe she saw, I don't know, maybe she heard something that sounded like a woman saying, it's okay, I'm going to help you. Could that have been Xana telling Ethan, it's okay, baby, I'm going to help you? And then Dylan saying it was a male that said, it's okay, I'm going to help you. That could be exculpatory, as the way you just explained it. So, great point. Thank you so much for saying that. What you think, Jeff?
Yeah.
Did she
totally
explain
forgot
it?
what I had something, and I forgot what. Oh, I know. Was curious. I found it all very interesting about what a day in the life in prison is probably like for
Yeah.
Brian. So he's got you said an hour to walk around the yard. Is that do you know if like this plan to do it this way? So I guess I have 23 hours in a cell and an hour out. Do you think, first thing that came to mind here is what I'm thinking is like, okay, is there a certain point where, say it was a half an hour is all they gave him? Did somebody in a meeting say, wait, you know what? That's going to cause this person, we've had an expert come in, that's going to cause him to go nuts, going to go insane. He's not going to be the same person. He's going to be completely destroyed. So they give him an hour. And the whole reason I say that is because that's often what they say about, what's the guy in the Delphi case, Richard Allen, is like, well, it's his punishment, his experience in the prison has driven him nuts, so you can't believe what he's saying. It's just like, it's almost like he's wrecked. He's a wrecked person thanks to the jail system. And I was just curious if that's if anybody's ever said or books have been written about like that it's designed this way because there's a certain balance of like it's like you said, he's not there. Didn't you 12? You said he's not there to be punished. He's just there to be, it's
To be
he's just there.
housed. Yeah. Yeah, I think, well, you gotta think about it this way, right? One, we gotta make sure that the staff shows up to work, right? So, and right now, I know in the state of Texas, they are running short staff. They always run short staff. It has been that way for years because they just don't make a whole lot of money. So not a lot of people are jumping ship to go work at a prison. I mean, they're just not, right? So if they're short staffed, they're not going to run rec, which rec is recreation. They're not going to run it because they cannot keep the offenders safe. So because in order to pull an offender out to take him to rec, it creates opportunities for other offenders to react, right? So if you can kind of imagine where he's at, everybody is in their cells at the same time, right? But you still have to walk by those cells to get to the back and they look like human dog cages, is what they look like. So they can have, I believe we had four, and they're big enough that they can play basketball. I mean, they're big enough. They're big enough, but there's just four, and the only thing that's separating it is just like the fence, chain link fence, right? But what happens is whenever they're going to give him rec, is two officers have to come, open the door, right? So we got a third person that has to be the one to push the button to open the door. Then they're going to have to cuff him, right? They're going to have to cuff him and with irons on his legs and on his arms. So I mean, and on his wrist. So he's fully ironed up, and then they're going to have to walk him. So what can happen to him on his way to rec is if another offender wants to get back at him, they can throw urine and feces at him, right? Because they got to walk through there. They'll pop their slot because there's a slot in the door. So the door's closed, but there's a slot, right? And the slot comes open, and that's how they give them medicine. That's how they give them their trays and things like that. So a lot of the offenders, they know how to pop those. So they could pop them and throw things at them, right? Urine and feces kind of thing is kind of what can happen. So, or as he's walking by, if the officers are not paying close attention and they walk him too closely to those doors, they could pop that slot and stab him in the thigh. I mean, we got major arteries going through our thighs and things. I mean, so he can get hurt. So that's why, running rec is kind of dangerous sometimes, and we have to be fully staffed. Now, that's just getting him in there. Once they get him in there, we have to have guards there to be watching him. He can, take a little jog. He can, play some basketball if they've taken care of the balls and they have air in them and stuff, and they have to be watching him because we ideally want to put one offender in each of the cages, right? But if I'm the offender in the next cage over and, I'm having a hard time with your crime because my daughter's in college and that could have been my daughter that you did that to, you son of a, you know what, blah, blah, blah. We got to make sure to keep him safe because they could stab him out there. It's just a chain link that's separating the four kennels, adult kennels that they have them in. So I mean, so it takes a lot more than what the public is used to knowing. They're just used to, like, if you talk to your loved ones that are in prison, oh, they didn't run rec again today. Well, they didn't run rec because they didn't have the staff to do it, so they got to have the staff. It's got to be safe. But I believe that after so many consecutive days, and I can't remember what that is for the state of Texas. After so many consecutive days, they have to, like, it's a law that they have to give them a break. So then they will, whenever they get to that point. But I can't remember how many consecutive days
I think
without it, but they try.
I think it's 3.
Yeah, I can't remember. I really can't, but I know that it's mandatory where everything stops and we run rec, and rec has to be ran, and then they go back into the cells, for it. Yeah, it could be 3. I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, just think about it, in that sense, hopefully I've given you guys a
Mhm.
good thing. But I mean, they have access still to a lot. I mean, they have access to the grievance department, which that's the department that I worked in when I worked for the prison. So I basically got all the grievances. If they didn't like something, they would tell me. They would write to me and tell me, what they didn't like about this or that or whatever their grievances were. So they have access to that. But yeah, that, I mean, his life isn't pretty. I know some people tend to think, oh, that he's just chilling in prison. But whenever you're just chilling in prison, what ends up happening, and the reason why a lot of people, some of the things, what y'all were saying earlier, that they kind of go mad, they kind of go crazy, and that's just the environment. And no, it's really not the environment. What ends up happening a lot of the times, what could happen a lot of the times, right, is that people already have mental illness. And so whenever you are incarcerated like that, that mental illness tends to magnify. And in the prison, they have rights. If I'm bipolar, schizophrenic, or you name it, whatever mental illness you want me to have, they can bring me my medication to help me with that, but I don't have to take it. And they can't force it on me. Everybody can know, well, Carla's bipolar, or Carla's this or whatever. She needs her medicine. To give her If Carla refuses her Medicase, they'll just be like, okay, we'll be back tomorrow. So you have a lot of mental illness in the prison that just it goes untreated, not because the
Untreated.
prison doesn't want to treat it, but because the offenders they don't want it. So people are like, oh, they're going mad. No, that's just honestly the mental illness in full blown, and it presents itself differently, right? Because a person with, like, let's say bipolar disease, or any other, we have work, we have this, we have that. But when you're in prison and you're in that cell 24, 23 hours out of the day, it's going to manifest itself a little bit different. And that is what you see. That is what you see. It's not necessarily, I mean, yes, being in prison does contribute to that, but also there's other contributing factors, to that. And unfortunately for him, until his popularity kind of dies down and he gets an opportunity to go to general population, he's going to be stuck there. General population inmates, they have a little bit more freedom. They get to move around a little bit more. They definitely get rec, because they can all go out there at the same time. They don't have to be escorted. They just pop them and they just walk themselves out there. And they have weights out there for them. They have basketballs, all that kind of stuff for them to access. So general population really feels as much of freedom as you can, while still being incarcerated. You walk you walk to the commissary and you get in line at the commissary, it feels normal, that you're walking places. You walk to the chow hall, you're moving around. So but he's not going to get a taste of that for a long time. So, just being in that cell with your thoughts, is, I mean, it's brutal if you're already suffering from mental illness, if that makes sense.
That does make sense.
Yeah.
It's getting late, but I'd really love if neither one of you have anything going on, maybe Friday night or Saturday night or Sunday, we could catch back up with this and go in a little deeper with other areas, other questions. I think we've had some good questions answered tonight, though. I've really enjoyed that you came up on panel, both of you.
Yeah, thanks, Carla.
I always enjoy being up on panel. You just let me know. I'll keep in touch with y'all, and we'll see if we can coordinate a day or an evening where we can all get together and possibly just have another powwow,
Yeah, I'm up for it. I'm definitely available this
Okay.
weekend. I would be available more probably on Friday or
Okay.
Sunday because my parents are coming into town, and we're gonna be heading out and doing some stuff with them. So yeah, like a Friday evening would
Yeah,
work
let's
best.
tentatively plan it for Friday,
Yeah.
maybe at 8:45, 9 o'clock, somewhere around there.
Oh, that sounds perfect. That sounds perfect for me. Jeff, are you available?
Yeah, there's an event at work, ends at 8:30 on Friday. So I might just have to check you guys out as I'm driving home.
But you're an hour
You're talking East Coast. Yeah, I'm East Coast.
Yeah, you're an
Maybe.
hour ahead, so it'd be 10 o'clock there or whatever.
Although I think we're picking up. Oh, no, we're not. I thought we were picking up the grandkids this weekend, but it turns out we're not. I actually might be free Friday night. Yeah, considering the hour and considering, yeah, I'll let you know.
Yeah, let's get together if we can. If not, Sunday will work either day. But we can continue the powwow, and I appreciate both of you. I hope that ChatGPT does y'all justice when you see the thumbnail that it's using that I just created. So I hope y'all approve of it. Y'all have a wonderful night and the rest of the week. I hope y'all have a good week ahead, and looking forward to seeing y'all. I'm gonna recruit.
Hey, do you want me to send you any videos on improving your driving? Any driver improvement of YouTube's?
I'm gonna call tomorrow, see how much it is. I'm gonna bust ass this weekend to pay, to get that paid off probably at the beginning of next week. I mean, I'm looking at maybe 160 at the highest point, which I'm thankful for that. I mean, that's really not that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully it's in the speeding range, where 250, 350, then, I mean, I can still do that, but I don't want to do that. Maybe I could quit watching
good luck with that.
Maybe I should quit watching Clueless and watching Share Drive, You know what?
No, what's that?
It's Clueless with Alicia Silverstone.
Oh, okay. I've never seen those. They look pretty good though. She's a lawyer or something, or
no? Her just her stepbrother's a lawyer, something like that. I don't know. It's been fun to watch it. But you guys have a good night. I'm gonna drop y'all down. Anything you want to say to the chat before I drop y'all?
No, just bye-bye, and never forget the foundation in the bathtub.
I hope everybody has a wonderful week and come back and join us on Friday.
All right. I'm going to drop y'all down. All right, everybody. You know what time it is. It's time for Maestro to cue that music, and I hope that y'all enjoyed that as much as I did. Yeah, come back Friday or Sunday, whichever day we decide. I'll definitely post it. Here we go. Maestro, do your thing.
On in San Francisco for the man known as the Zodiac Killer.
There could be a serial killer in Chicago.
The Oakland County child killer is going to kill him.
Frankfurt slasher.
4 children have now been murdered.
Has killed 5 and says he's going to kill again.
15 brutally murdered young women.
The pattern is the same.
One by one, the death count started rising.
A man in a mask robbed, tied, and stabbed them.
Strangled, stuffed in burlap bags.
It is highly unlikely that these women were murdered by separate men.
Where will the killer strike next?
Police can't answer who or why.
That's the question that we'll never know.
I don't want to live the rest of my life wondering if this person's going to be caught.